Curse of the Azure Bonds arrived on our humble Commodore 64 all the way back in 1989, with SSI quietly assuming that, if you were still here after Pool of Radiance or Hillsfar, then you were already beyond saving and probably quite happy about it. This was the point where AD&D games stopped easing players in and started treating them like a long-suffering adventuring party that should know better by now. You wake up in an inn in Tilverton with your equipment gone, your dignity slightly dented, and 5 glowing blue marks branded into your sword arm as if the game itself is saying, "Welcome back, now let us make things awkward immediately." It is a wonderfully rude opening, and it sets the tone perfectly, because nothing about this adventure is interested in holding your hand. Therefore, if you are interested in revisiting this classic, then don't forget I'm curating game manuals on my website over at www.cheekycommodoregamer.co.uk, and this one will be available there to either peruse or download for guidance. Links for the website are in the description of the video, so please do check it out if you get a chance. But anyway, these glowing, mystical Azure Bonds are one of the smartest ideas SSI ever put into the easily identified range of Gold Box games, because they are not just there to look mysterious, they actually interfere, they glow, they trigger. They force you into situations that make your party look like idiots, or criminals, or both, and the game never apologises for it. Getting compelled into attacking a royal carriage and then discovering how tough and well organised the guards are is a moment many players remember vividly, usually because it went wrong in spectacular fashion. It gives the whole quest a sense of simmering irritation rather than heroic destiny, and that makes hunting down the people responsible far more satisfying than chasing an abstract evil. Once you are loose in the Dalelands, the scale of the game really starts to show, and it still feels faintly absurd that all of this lived on a two-sided floppy disk. Towns, keeps, forests, temples, ruins, sewers, and long dangerous stretches of road sprawl out in every direction, and the game is quite happy to let you wander into places that are wildly above your pay grade. Curse of the Azure Bond gained a reputation as one of the hardest Gold Box games, and it earned it honestly, with encounters that assumed you are paying attention and punish you if you are not. Draco leashes, beholders, drow, black dragons and priests throwing high-level spells around are not rare surprises, but recurring problems, and surviving them feels less like luck and more like having learned how the system actually works. So it's definitely a game you'll want to invest some time in to learn the ropes. That system, however, is where the game still shines brightest. Exploration in the first-person view feels slow and deliberate, and then combat snaps into a sort of isometric battlefield that turns every fight into a tense little wargame. You find yourself thinking several moves ahead, lining up spells, worrying about friendly fire and muttering at the screen when initiative goes the wrong way. Fireballs, lightning bolts, backstabs and carefully placed melee lines never lose their appeal, and the joy comes from watching a plan work rather than simply watching numbers fall. It is also a game that teaches restraint the hard way, because charging in rarely ends well, and running away is sometimes the wisest move you have. Character building deepens the attachment. Importing a party from Pool of Radiance, for example, could certainly be performed, and made Curse of the Azure Bonds feel like a continuation of a real campaign, and not just another standalone title. And the addition of paladins and rangers broadened party dynamics nicely. Multi-class characters allowed for wonderfully flexible builds, and the fact that you could carry this same group forward into later games gave every level up and equipment choice extra weight. This was not about finishing one adventure, but about shaping a party that had history and baggage, and very strong opinions about certain types of dungeon. Those were the days. Even talking about this game brings me all the way back to those rainy days, playing this as a kid. There is also something wonderfully earnest about how much this game actually expects you to engage with it beyond the screen. The hefty manual, the adventurer's journal, full of rumours and half hints, the maps, The tables and the notes you'll have scribbled on scraps of paper next to your keyboard all felt like part of the experience. Even the infamous loading times became part of the rhythm, giving you just enough space to plan the next move, argue with yourself about spell choices, or wonder if this was really the night to tackle that tower your buddies at school had warned you about. In a very nostalgic way, I feel that Curse of the Azure Bonds stands as one of the most confident entries in the Gold Box series. It is demanding without being unfair, and also expansive without being empty. But it'll also challenge you in a way that rewards patience and careful thinking, rather than reflexes. On the Commodore 64, I can't help but be proud of how impossibly ambitious it was, and how deeply absorbing it still is, even to this day. I'm hoping that whilst watching this, you'll remember this one not just for its scale or its difficulty, but for the way it made you feel. Involved, bruised, determined, yet quietly proud when things finally went your way. It's the sort of game that left you with stories to tell rather than just a save file, and that is why so many of us still remember storming the Fire Knives hideout, blasting fireballs down corridors, and finally cutting those glowing bonds with a grin and a sense that it had all been worth it. Big thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Which was your favourite game from the SSI series? I'd be interested to hear about it in the comments. As always, your continued support is massively appreciated, so hit that subscribe for more content just like this. Check out the various playlists on the channel for more Commodore titles, and maybe stick around, as there's another one coming up right now. Hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, bye for now.